in any event, we have our first guest lined up for you today. As you might recall, this was last week, this time, in fact, we would have been reporting to you about the merger that took place between the RJR Group of companies and the Gleaner company. And, of course, it was one of those bit of information that caused many off guard. And coming on the eve of Independence Day celebration, one wondered the decision for that particular time. But then, hey, strategies, one would say. We have discussed the implications from an economic and business perspective. This evening, we have to talk to us more about the implications it has on a nation, on a people, and on Jamaica as it relates to press freedoms, the movement of media, etc., etc., is a person whom I have a great deal of respect for. In fact, I knew way back when he was Michael James. Today, he's Dr. Lakin Samaj. And, he's a well-noted, leading, creative thinker and problem solver and a key motivational speaker. He's also the CEO of the Job Bank, and we welcome him to the Moving Forward program. Welcome, Doc.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
And how are you doing this afternoon, sir?
Well, giving thanks. I mean, I just came back from the gym, so that can't be a bad day, Can't be a bad day.
I know quite well. Last week, this time, we were discussing here on air the merger that was announced between the Jamaica Gleaner Company and the RJR Group of companies, two already goliaths in our space in Jamaica and the Caribbean, and what this new paradigm would mean for the landscape in Jamaica and its external components as well. Talk to us, sir, about from the standpoint of its implication on the whole presentation delivery abilities of media as it's now understood in Jamaica, its impact with this type of merger.
Let me take a few minutes and frame it because it's even bigger than you have just said. If you go back a few months, the first step in this process was when Digicel bought SportMax. Now, that was the first Goliath being created because SportMax contained a significant number of cable channels. And then Digicel now decided that they wanted an alliance. So Digicel now has its own outlet in terms of content distribution and its broadband capability because that's where we're going. Broadband, bandwidth, and the battle for eyes. The second wave came when Lime bought Flow. You remember that? That was earlier this year. And now these are both trans-Caribbean deals because whatever territory that Digicel is in, they will now contain the cable markets. And cable now has everything. It has news, it has entertainment, it has sports. Flow is right across the Caribbean because they bought out all the smaller cable companies across the Caribbean and Jamaica. And now Lime bought Flow. So that's a whole nother conglomerate. RJR Gleaner is just a third installment in this process. But my prediction is that there's a fourth one waiting to happen.
Without a doubt.
Now, Butch Stewart and The Observer, and CVM and Michael Leachin. Now, these are both persons with deep pockets, and if they don't position themselves, they could get eaten. So my prediction is that that's the next component, and I would not be surprised. My prediction is that if they put a deal together, they would then go after IRIE-FM and Zip, because IRIE-FM is without a head, so to speak now, with the passing of the founder, Mr. Young, and then shortly after the passing of his son. So Chad, that's the kind of force holding that together. I'm sure there are persons now, if somebody came with the right amount of money, so that if they've got a deal now to put together IRIE and Zip, together with, together with the Observer, newspaper, and CVM, and Fire.
Yeah.
And Fire.
Yes.
So you understand now, in all of this, in a very interesting way, the first two are Pan-Caribbean deals. The RJR Gleaner is just in Jamaica, so to speak. Yes, they have digital, and internet capabilities. So we're talking about a totally new landscape going forward in terms of just the and my biggest concern, even with the RJR Gleaner, you realize now we're talking about 10 news and music entity coming down to one. So whereas when we have seen this shrinking over the years, and when you have when we had two outlets in Jamaica, RJR and JBC, we had more information. For the entire RJR group, that's one newsroom. Because RJR has three cable channels, one free-to-air channel, three radio stations, but they have one newsroom. Gleaner owns Power 106, Music 99, Children's Home, The Star, but that's technically one news outlet. So I think in a very interesting way, the Jamaican people will be worse off when it comes to information as a result of these three deals that have been consummated, and between you and me, I'm predicting the fourth one will also be consummated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now,
let me ask you this. Let's just go further on that point. In speaking to Chairman Spalding on these airways, he indicated the independence of the entities that they'll continue, but there was a caveat because he said until such time, whatever that means. Because when you have a merger, as you know, Dr. Samaj, it's about eliminating the sameness,
yes,
where there's duplicity.
Absolutely.
And a newsroom is a newsroom. In other words, where it filters its news to it's irrelevant. It's a newsroom. and so you're absolutely correct. We could see a situation where we could now have the contraction of news source going into different telecos.
Well, no, there's no brain surgery required to do that. That's going to be straightforward. It has happened already. The entire RJR group of 7, 8 outlets, one newsroom. So they're going to be a significant. I get my news from Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. I do not depend on the radio stations and TV stations in Jamaica for news. They pick up things long after it has happened and they're filtered it. Anyone who wants unfiltered news, you find primary sources all over the world, and the internet is still free. They can't hold that back. But, Erwin, there's another force that we have to look at. There's something called the creative people who create content. Content is still king. All of these sources will require content. The other entity who has made an incredible move, the Grace Kennedy Group, recently got the ISA deal for 15 years. Now, that ISA package, you're talking about probably the best sports package in the Caribbean.
Content, yes. Without a doubt.
Boys and girls champs. Boys and girls champs alone. Manning Cup football, you name it. So that they own that content. So that all of these entities will have to come and talk to them to access to their content. No, it means also now the real competition will be for the talented people who are creators of content, the imaginative, the creative people who are. They will know the highest bidder will have to talk to them, because it's not about just.
It comes back. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so it's one thing for you to control these stations and so on, but look what happened the other day in the United States when iTunes started streaming, and one artist held out and says, "You will not have my content for free for 3 months to give away. You must pay me." And one artist held their ground, and iTunes had to back off and say, "We'll pay everybody then." So that I am looking for now the creative Caribbean people, the creative media people, the creative theater people, the real people who can analyze stories and so on to step forward now and to really know the highest bidder will have to talk to them proper. If you want my content, if you want me on your station, talk to me properly.
You have to pay me for it.
Yes.
So it comes back around to a function that you now serve in the job bank. It now means then that we could be creating a new stream of technically oriented persons a news, because a question I was also posed to Christopher Barnes as they go after the digital content and the like, is that we're requesting a different job stream for this type of to satisfy these resources, because gone are the days when the guy goes on the scene and writes a story and goes back to the newsroom. I mean, everybody with a smartphone today is considered a media person because he flashes out the pictures, he flashes out what's going on. So that portion, I don't think the Gleaners and the newspapers and the radio stations can compete there.
By no means.
Going on to the digital side now, where you require the technical capabilities, it's now opportunities for young people now to look at that avenue, what you said, Dr. Samaj.
Absolutely. Now, interestingly, the first two groups that I talked about, the Lime and the Flow groups, they're already in the Digicel because they control the broadband, they control the fiber optics. Now, about 3 years ago, I was the chairman of the Jamaica Film a Day committee for the Jamaica Film Festival. And all the young people who entered the Jamaica Film a Day, not one learned filmmaking from UTech or UII. They all learned from YouTube. Some did their films on their iPhone. Some actually bought a camera.
Right.
But they all created incredible short films by teaching themselves how to do this from YouTube. So we're talking about a whole new, there's an incredible movement in Jamaica in terms of informatics and infographics, also looking at animation. So there's a whole young people who master this medium, as opposed to just using it for fun and games. They will be the persons in demand. Right. So yes, some of the old...
So opportunities abound here, you are saying that?
Absolutely. And we're not just talking about the Caribbean, because any of these vehicles now will also be talking to the rest of the world. So that, yes, globally, there's going to be some of the old jobs are going to die. But what happens? New jobs are created. So now anyone with a smartphone, I remind people, that once you're involved in social media, guess what? You're a broadcaster. You're a broadcaster. Now the question is, if you're a blogger, you're a broadcaster. And if your content is seen as important and serious, people will find you.
Somebody will want it, right?
People will want you. Right. If your insights are sharp, people will want you. So a whole new world is being created as we speak.
All right. Dr. Samaj, we're going to have to leave it there. And I just want to say, again, we're on radio, time is limited here. But, the point here is that we're looking for another announcement soon. I saw a comment made by Gordon Butch today congratulating the move as a bold move. So I gather that is laying the foundation for a bolder move.
But look at this. I mean, we first made contact via Facebook. When I made my predictions and so on. Exactly. So you see, it's all connected. We first made contact via Facebook when I gave my predictions as to what the next moves are going to be. So that it's all connected. And we are, in a sense, we're all even players. We are all even players. So who can control the most eyes and ears? So let's see where we go with this. Exciting times ahead, Irving. Exciting times.
Exciting times, my friend. Listen, I'm being sent on soon, so keep the parish cool until the 15th.
Will do, my brother. Will do. Alrighty.
All right. Take care. Thank you very much. That was Dr. Jamaican Samaj.